Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. As we begin with Part 1, A Key to Symbolism, by Pensator, an article taken from Rosicrucian Digest, Volume 20, Number 6, July 1942. A Key to Symbolism, Part 1 by Pensator. Generally speaking, most thought on the subject of symbology is one-sided. By this, I mean that we are usually inclined to think that symbology refers only to graphic representation as found in the field of art. But to thus limit it is extremely naive. And by so doing, we limit ourselves horribly in our attempts to enlarge our consciousness and our knowledge of the universe. Mystical philosophy affirms that space and time, defining everything that we know by means of sensuous perception, are in themselves just forms of our receptivity, the lens or prism through which we see the world, or in other words, space and time do not represent properties of the universe, but just properties of our knowledge of the universe gained through our sensuous organism. From this it follows that the universe, apart from our knowledge of it, has neither extension in space nor existence in time. These are properties which we add to it in order to objectively know it. The sense of space, dimensionality, is the power of representation by means of form. Objective realization, that is the sense of space-time, three-dimensionality, etc., is to be regarded as only one aspect of the universe, a cross-section only, not existing actually, but being realized, hence actual to our objective senses only, by means of the five objective senses. The world of actuality, that is higher dimensionality and consciousness, the world of causes, rather than our realization of things by their cross-sectional, three-dimensional and time aspects, in our objective world, comprises the other phase of one and the same universe. The two are not separate, but merely different aspects of one and the same. The world is one. This apparent division exists only in our consciousness because of our incorrect perception of the world. It is important to remember that each phenomenon in our three-dimensional world is the finite expression in the sphere of our knowledge through the objective senses of something infinite. Our objective mind and consciousness has knowledge only of a cross-section of a multidimensional, infinite, cosmic world. To know the infinite, we must broaden and deepen the scope of our consciousness. This is the aim of mysticism. In speaking of matter, it is always necessary to remember that matter is not that which it objectively appears to be to our senses, but rather a condition. Suppose, for example, that a man is born blind. It is impossible to regard this blindness as a substance. It is a condition of the existence, receptivity, or knowledge of a given man. Matter in its three-dimensional aspects of space-time is some sort of blindness. We sense it not completely, but only partially, only conditionally, as if through a narrow slit. Our objective knowledge does not study facts, but only the perception of facts. In order for our knowledge to transcend the limits of the objective three-dimensional sphere, it is necessary that the conditions of perception shall change. Objective perception is nothing else than our incomplete, hence incorrect perception of the world, and exists in our consciousness only. The relations of the cosmic world only are correct and true. Occidental materialistic science has narrowed our understanding of the world. Denying the existence of all else than our own particular cross-section of the universe, the doors to a higher knowledge and perception of the world remained closed, and we even denied that there was anything whatever behind them. Or, suspecting the existence of another world, we imagined it similar to ours, and tried to penetrate there unconscious of the fact that the division of the world into this world and that world constituted our chief obstacle. The world is one, only the ways of knowing it are different. With imperfect methods of knowledge, it is impossible to penetrate into that which is accessible to perfect methods only. That world and our world are not two different worlds. That which we call our world is merely our incorrect perception of the world. That world begins to be apprehended by us as the wondrous, as something opposed to the reality of this world, and at the same time, our objective world begins to seem unreal. This sense of the wondrous is the key to that is cosmic world. The growth of consciousness in man consists in the growth of the intellect and the accompanying growth of the higher emotions, religious, aesthetic, etc., which according to their growth become more and more intellectualized. And with this proceeds the assimilation by the intellect of emotional qualities which give it increasing warmth, and it thus ceases to be cold. This fusion of the intellect with the higher emotions gives spiritual growth. Man comprehends many things by means of his logical mind, that is intellect, and also much by means of his emotions. In no case, however, are emotions merely organs of feeling for feeling's sake. They are all organs of knowledge. In every emotion we know something that we could not know without its aid, something we could know by no other emotion and by no effort of the logical mind. If we consider the emotional nature of man as self-contained, not serving knowledge, we shall never understand its true significance. There is much that can only be known emotionally and only through given emotions. We may call the emotions the stained glass windows of the soul. They are colored windows or prisms through which the soul looks out upon the world. As each such glass aids in finding the same or similar colors in a contemplated object, so it likewise prevents the finding of opposite colors. A one-sided emotional nature, therefore, cannot give a correct perception and knowledge of an object. Emotional understanding makes clear much that was before indistinct or clouded to our consciousness, yet nothing so easily deludes us. Every emotion has its own particular meaning for existence, although its value from the standpoint of knowledge may vary. Certain emotions are important and necessary for knowledge and the increase of consciousness, while other emotions are detrimental and do much to hinder. The indication of the growth of the emotions is the liberation of them from the purely personal elements and their sublimation on the higher planes. This liberation from the strictly personal element augments the knowledge received through the emotions, since the more of personal elements in the emotion, the greater the possible delusions. Personal emotions are always partial and unjust, since they always oppose themselves to all the rest. Just as it is incorrect to evaluate everything in relation to oneself from the standpoint of one emotion, contrasting it with all the rest, so is it also incorrect to evaluate everything in relation to the world from the standpoint of one's own accidental I of a given moment. The problem of correct emotional knowledge, then, consists in the fact that one shall feel in relation to the world and men from some other standpoint than the personal. And in just the proportion that we depersonalize our emotions, we thereby deepen and broaden the scope and caliber of the knowledge which it is possible to receive through the emotions. Not all emotions are of equal value, however, in liberating from the self-elements, as certain emotions by their very nature are disruptive. Such are hatred, fear, envy, pride, jealousy, smugness, and complacency. All these are materialistic and confine knowledge to a narrow, individualized plane. There are also unifying, harmonizing emotions which make men feel themselves part of some vast whole. Such are love, compassion, sympathy, friendship, etc. These are the emotions which provide the key to lead man out of the finite, objective world and lead him along the path into the cosmic world. One of the major obstacles toward a proper understanding of the functions of the emotions is an understanding of the true division of pure and impure emotions. An impure emotion is one that is not pure, that is mixed with or disturbed by other emotions, giving mixed or disturbed knowledge, just as impure mirrors give distorted images. Pure emotion gives a clear image, hence pure knowledge for which it is intended. This division prevents us from making the mistake of sacerdotalism and dogmatic moralists who arbitrarily divide all emotions into moral and immoral. If we separate emotions, however, from such moral classifications, we greatly simplify matters and we see that there can be no in their nature pure or impure emotions, but that each emotion is pure or impure according to its inclusion or exclusion of other emotions. Only complete victory over the personal elements leads man to a true understanding of the world and himself. All emotions colored by self-elements are like unto curved or distorted mirrors, which reflect images imperfectly and distort our knowledge of the world. It is seen, therefore, that it is extremely important that we prepare and train our emotions to serve as proper organs of knowledge. This purification and elevation of the emotions is clearly demanded of all who would follow the mystic way to higher knowledge. It is mentioned expressly in the teachings of the Master Jesus, Gautama the Buddha, Zoroaster, and all who have left wisdom and revelations unto mankind for his guidance and succor. Become as little children, and blessed are the pure in heart. Until man undertakes the purification and elevation of his emotions, he cannot hope to reach a correct understanding of the world and himself. The organized forms of intellectual knowledge are science and philosophy, the one founded upon calculation, observation, and experience, the other upon the purely speculative or analogical method of reasoning. The organized forms of emotional knowledge are religion and art. All religious teachings are based upon the emotional nature of man, although they take on the nature of sects and cults, to the extent that they depart from the original revelations, under institutionalized and dogmatic churchly forms. The magnificence of temples, the rituals of worship, the vestments of priests and clergy, the music, processions, sacrificial ceremonies, etc., all have as their primary aim the attunement of man in a certain way. Religious myths, prophecies, and legends also serve in this manner and for this purpose. And even when they fail to serve their original purpose, that is to give knowledge through their emotional reactions, they carry on that which in turn can lead man to knowledge and enlightenment. Religion may at times deviate from its true aim to give knowledge of God and the universe to man, and may serve merely earthly interests and purposes. But its foundation is the search for truth and for God. Art seeks beauty and discovers beauty in everything, and compels man to feel it, therefore to know emotionally. Herein is a powerful instrument for knowledge into the mysterious depths of higher worlds, that is, into the cosmic world, open to the man who wields this magical key. But let him only think that this mystery is not for knowledge, but only for the pleasure in it, and all the beauty and strength of this key disappears at once. Just as soon as art begins to take pleasure in that beauty which it thinks it has already found, instead of the search for new mysteries and beauty, an arrestment occurs, and the result is a thin and superfluous aestheticism, blocking man's vision like a wall. The aim of art is the search for that beauty which cannot be expressed in logical terms, just as the aim of religion is the search for God and truth. And exactly as art stops, so also does religion stop as soon as it ceases to search for God and truth, thinking it has already found them. This is concisely stated in the Gospels. Seek the kingdom of God. It does not say find, but merely seek. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.